in. So first, I want to say it is simple to lose the weight, but it is not easy. So just the theory, as everything, is simple. And it's a combination of every area of the well-being that you need to implement. So mental. Mostly it's about habits. We are creatures of habits and we have limiting beliefs. They have been put to us either by society or the family. So very often I, for example, hear, but we have a family dinner at 7 o'clock in the evening and we all eat the same food. So just remember that if you are 40, 50 or 60, you cannot eat the same meal as your 15-year-old child. They have a completely different need for their lifestyle than you have. And also you need to consider the food is a fuel. Do you need to fuel yourself at 7 o'clock in the evening because you are lacking the energy and you don't have enough storage of fat, therefore the energy on your body? Brain chemistry. Very often when the neurotransmitters, dopamine, the motivation hormone, or serotonin, the happy hormone, or any other GABA and other neurotransmitters are out of control, we are seeking to find pleasure in food. And reflection here is very important. Acceptance. So it's first the awareness that you are using food to make yourself feel happier. Accepting this fact that something needs to be repaired and then taking action. And emotions. Food and alcohol and people or any external factor, which can be adult films, it can be sex, it can be whatever addiction makes you happy and changes your emotions. So you need to again be aware of your emotions and whether you can find the happiness and satisfaction within you, or if you are seeking for it in external environment, and also which emotions are dominating your day. Is it fear? Fear of what? Fear of failure? Fear of missing out? Fear of not being good enough? Do you feel sad and lonely? Why? And how can you turn every disadvantage into advantage? Physical. Are you moving your body actively every single day, or are you inactive and then overactive, for example, at the weekend? So balance is the key in every area. Nutritional. Here it's usually the lack of knowledge, because many of my clients say, but I eat healthily. But remember, healthy does not equal good for you. So you need to know that if you do all over again this healthy eating and still you are putting the weight on and having lack of energy and imbalance on hormones, then the healthy food is not healthy for you. And spiritual part, it's, do you know why you do what you do? Do you know what you want to achieve in your life? What is your vision? What is your mission? Why are you here? And for someone, it can be to be a good mother and raise children so that they are happy and healthy and satisfied in their life. It's a very nice goal. For somebody, it can be chasing the career ladder because it makes them truly happy to feel somebody. It feeds their ego, but at least know why you are doing what you are doing and consider whether it actually makes you happy or not. But now enough of the theory. Let's dive into the science of the weight loss. So what is energy balance equation? So you have maybe heard calories in and calories out. So what we put in, how we nourish our body and give us fuel, that is utilized for exercise, daily activities like writing this presentation and recording it for you, or going for a walk, or walking the dogs, or helping my children, whatever. It's the daily activities. And then we have resting metabolism. So what is resting metabolism, and actually how many calories should you eat? So resting metabolism, for example, 10 years ago, for me, it was 1,100 calories because I was active, I had 2 small children. But now It's around 700, 800 calories. And resting metabolism, it means that if I'm lying in the bed for 24 hours, my body needs around 800 calories so that my heart is pumping, so that I can inhale, so that my body is detoxifying, so that I can sleep, so that I can repair the cells. Yeah, so that's the bare minimum that I need to consume. And if I don't consume it, I must have on my body some source of fat, the storage that can utilize it. What is the resting metabolism for you? You would find out only if you went to the specialized center where they would measure you. For example, when you exercise, they would be taking the lactic acid. They would be measuring you every 15 minutes from the blood. They would check your urine. They would make the measurements of your fat. So it's not on the scale where you are just holding the metal. It's like real measurement exercise. So many people think that when they go to the gym for 1 hour, that they actually need to eat banana or have a shake to repair the muscle mass. But the truth is that unless you are Olympic athlete and you are training for more than 2 hours of a high intensity interval training, you are burning more calories than 500. So for example, 500 calories you would burn if you go for a 10 kilometers run and you run around 5 minutes 30 or maybe under, less, like 6 minutes per kilometer, which means that you would run 10 kilometers under 1 hour. In that case, you burn 500 calories. If you are doing 1 hour of hot yoga or 1 hour of Pilates and you are pumping your heart, you burn most probably 200 calories, which is equivalent of 1 banana. So you need to consider, if you try to lose the weight, you actually need to cut down the calories and not to snack every time when you hit the gym. Daily activity can be actually surprisingly more beneficial for you to lose the weight. And daily activity, it means that, for example, instead of taking the car or bus or tram to work, you go by bike. So you are cycling for 30 minutes. Instead of taking the lift, you take 5 stairs and you walk it up and down. Instead of going shopping by car, you take a backpack and you do the shopping and then you carry the backpack home, or you go for a long walk, which is 10,000 steps with your dogs or with your spouse or with your friends or on your own. And in that case, you can burn between 400 to 1,000 calories per day, again, depending how active you are. So what is the total? The total depends on how much effort you invest. What will become your priority in your agenda when you are trying to lose the weight? And the calories in, we will look into it in details. It's the macronutrients, protein, fat, and carbohydrates. So now grab a pen and paper and we are going to calculate. So if you want to lose 1 kilo of a body fat, so the pure fat mass, you need to lose or decrease your intake of calories by 7,700 calories. How is that possible? So let's say that if you daily eat 1,700 calories and you reduce by 500, which means that you are going to cut maybe your snack away, depending what your snack was, or you are going to remove the carbohydrates that you had until now, bread, pasta, pizza, or you are going to cut completely one meal. It might be breakfast or it might be dinner. You will reduce it by 500 calories. In that case, it takes 2 weeks to lose 1 kilogram. Yeah? And I don't recommend to cut by more because then you would create a scarcity. So let's say that in 1 week, you can lose 0.5 kilo of the body fat. And you might say, but Blanca, recently I have done a cabbage diet and I lost 3 kilos per week. But I would challenge you. Was that really the pure fat? Or was it water or protein? Because if you eat cabbage, you are not consuming as much of the protein that you should per day. And also, if you reduce the amount of carbohydrates that are holding two molecules of water, this water is then going to be eliminated from your body, and therefore you lose 3 to 5 kilograms of water as well. So we need to be realistic, and I encourage you to calculate how many kilograms would you want to lose and how long is it going to take you in case you are consistent. And consistency is the key word, because if you are good for 1 or 2 days and then you overeat on the 3rd day, the 4th day you are starting from 0 again. You are on the starting point again. It's like a detour that you have taken. So how many macronutrients do you need to consume per day? So here we are talking about the weight loss. In case you are skinny and you don't carry more than 14 grams of fat on your body, I do not recommend that you are restricting your calories and that you are cutting down the carbs or fat because you don't have enough fat on your body. But in case you have more than 2 kilograms of fat that you would want to lose, you can stick to this. So carbohydrates. Here we talk about complex carbohydrates, not the single molecules. And I will tell you what is the difference in a little while. So ketogenic diet, which again, I don't recommend without supervision of a certified nutritionist or dietitian. So ketogenic diet means you are not consuming more than 20 grams of carbohydrate per day. And now I encourage you to open the fridge or check your favorite ingredients that you are eating. So for example, I'm going to look at kefir. That's something that I have at home all the time. This is 500 grams, so 500 milliliters of kefir, half a liter. And it is really liquidy. So in 100 milligrams, there is 4 grams of carbohydrates. So let's say that if I drink 400 or 500, let's say 500, half a liter, it's easy to drink half a liter of kefir, I'm going to have 20 grams of carbohydrates. So in that case, as you can see, I would just by drinking, and this is white, nature, there is no added sugar, but still sugar is absolutely everywhere. So I would complete my daily amount just by drinking half a liter of kefir, from which it's pure sugar. And why is it sugar? Because it's lactose, and lactose is sugar. So you see that even if you say, but I buy only white yogurt or only white kefir, I don't use any sugar. Sugar is there. So let's look, for example, at, I have here, this is grilled fromage. This is basically like halloumi. And when we look at the sugar in halloumi, the cheese, it's fermented cheese, there is only 0.7 grams of carbohydrate. So that's why for a ketogenic diet, for example, this is allowed, but we need to watch also for the fat and protein. So protein, there is 25 grams of protein in 100 grams, and this is 180 grams. So let's say that if I eat half of this cheese, the 100 grams, I will have 25 grams of protein. How much protein do you need? Because like this, it's only a number for you. It doesn't mean anything. So for every kilo of the body weight, you need 1 gram of protein. So let's say that if you have 60 kilograms, you need 60 grams of protein. So if you eat half of this cheese, you have 25. So then you need, for example, if you eat 2 meals and 1 snack, yeah? So in 1 meal, you would have half of the cheese and vegetable. And in a second meal, for example, you would decide, I have here also a cottage cheese. So this is, it says 25 grams of protein. And in what? So we always have to look. So in half of the package, it's 12. And in 200 grams, it's basically 25. So if you ate the whole container of this cottage cheese, you would have 25 grams of protein. And that is a very nice number. Yeah. Let's look at how much fat would you have. You would have in the whole package 7.8 grams of fat. How much fat do we need per day if we want to lose weight? It's roughly around 20 grams of fat, but mostly it should be omega-3. However, this is going to be omega-6 because it's an animal product. Yeah, animal products like milk, cheese, yogurt, it's always going to be omega-6. And what is the difference between omega-6 and omega-3? So omega-3 is anti-inflammatory and it's making the cells fluidy so that the receptors can really nicely absorb everything. And omega-6 are saturated fat. They are inflammatory. They are releasing inflammatory prostaglandins. And also they make the cells rigid. So the cells are really strict and not as fluid. And that's why we need the balance of omega-3, which we take from the linseeds, flax seeds, fish oil, and omega-6 that we get from all animal products. So going back to this fat, so this saturated fat, 7.8. So that is still okay. Compared to this halloumi, when I look at the fat, it has 30 grams of fat, saturated fat, in half of the package. And sometimes you can eat it full easily. 60 grams of fat is not good. So we know the protein is there in the animal product. Carbohydrates are very low in animal products. Is there any fiber? No, there is no fiber. Fiber you can get only from plant-based food, vegetable and fruit. Fruit we kind of put on a side because it's high in sugar, not good for the weight loss. But we look at the vegetable. So vegetable should be 70% of your plate. And in that case, you can reach to 25 grams. And we need fiber because fiber has no calories because we cannot break it down. It serves as a food for the microbiota, the guts in your intestine that are going to turn it actually into energy. And it's going to nicely bulk your stool so that you don't suffer neither with constipation nor with diarrhea. So now I invite you to take the pen and paper, or at least pause this video and reflect. What do you normally eat? And try to look at the packaging and calculate how many grams of protein do you actually consume per day. So if you, for example, have 100 kilos, do you really consume 100 grams of protein? Because remember, we need protein for absolutely everything in the body. Keratin in the hair is a protein. In the nails, it's a protein. Every enzyme, every hormone, every neurotransmitter is made out of protein, of amino acids. If you do not consume enough protein every single day, the chances are you are not having the building blocks, and therefore you might suffer with hormonal imbalance, losing the hair, having the collagen in the skin sinking down, and that's not what you want for the anti-aging. What kind of cheese are you buying? Is it the 30% cheese or 45% cheese? Like, for example, I love Comté, but it's high in fat. Can I replace it with Emmental, which is 30% of the fat? Or can I just consume cottage cheese? Look at the packaging of carbohydrates. Maybe you are buying quinoa. Maybe you are buying even buckwheat that I absolutely recommend. But even buckwheat in 100 grams has 73 grams of carbohydrates. So it is very high in carbohydrates. So this is your homework number 1.